Respiratory illnesses are spiking across the tri-states. Quincy's Blessing Hospital says since Thanksgiving, inpatient COVID-19 cases at the hospital have reached an average of 15 patients per day. The people admitted because of the flu has now hit 7, with 2 of those people staying in intensive care. WGEM Shakayla McCamick joins me now with details on how Blessing is navigating the issue. Shakayla.
Daniel, starting on Monday, Blessing Health System is requiring all patients and visitors to wear a mask when visiting their facilities. Throughout the tri-states, the hospital says over the past week, the COVID-19 test positive rate in Adams and Pike counties has been about 11%. Anything above 10% is considered a high transmission rate. The hospital is following CDC guidelines by requiring masks in all healthcare settings since most of the communities served by Blessing have reached a high level of community spread. Blessing says this time of year typically sees more flu cases, but an influx of COVID-19, flu, and RSV cases all at once is causing more hospital stays.
But now that we have all 3 viruses active at the same time, it is a bigger concern. So probably the number one thing, especially when we're talking about visiting and things like that around the holidays, is stay home if you're sick. You know, don't go to work if you're sick. Don't go to grandma's if you're sick. You know, stay home, get rest, get better.
Dr. Barthel recommends that everyone who is eligible should make sure they're up to date on their flu vaccine and COVID-19 vaccine and booster. She recommends the new bivalent COVID vaccine that specifically targets the Omicron strain of COVID that they're seeing in patients. Shakayla McCamick, WGEM News.
Thank you, Shakayla. And Blessing Hospital in Quincy has masks at their building entrances for visitors. Barthel says the hospital staff will continue to follow CDC guidelines to determine when it will be safe again to lift that new mask mandate.